lot of effery this week. Why am I censoring myself? Fuckery this week because we're not doing that kitty nonsense. Welcome to this week's Bonnet Chronicles, y'all. I took a 2 week break, but I am back. I'm sorry to anybody who thought that I was giving up on my Twitch or my YouTube, but I needed a break. And as I said in the earlier mental health vlog that I did today, I needed to figure out what I was going to do and talk about on that. And I'm going to try to do more of those. But, you know, when your mind is at that point, mine was, it was important for me to step back and take a break from everything. And the week before last was already kind of rough on me mentally because of all the BS that I'm going to probably talk about tonight. But then the following week, I got my second COVID shot, and it just really fatigued me. So my brain was like, I can try to sit in front of the camera and talk about social issues, or I can get the rest I need. And I decided to take the rest I need. And I think if you're a streamer, especially, you need to put that first. If you're too tired, that comes across. If you're not feeling it, it comes across. And I would much rather take the breaks like this and come back fresh and raring to go than to push myself into doing something that isn't going to be entertaining and I'm not really feeling it. And trust me, even taking a 2 week break, you never lose out on stuff to talk about. And tonight is no exception. And as you can see, I'm already on Twitter because, of course, that is the source of a lot of my fuckery. It just happens to be a flow of idiocy sometimes. And I can just easily get to something that I need to talk about. But I wanted to start off the cast with just the last few days because I think a lot of people will relate to what I've gone through with my son's education. Now, I never hid this from people, but back in, I believe, 2016, I took my son out of traditional schools. He graduated, well, no, technically 2017. I'm looking at the thing right there. 2017. He graduated from actual elementary school, and that was after being held back a year due to a homeschooling error in Georgia. And for me, since we were in the middle of transitioning from being in North Carolina to going to Michigan, I didn't want to put him in another North Carolina high school. So I enrolled junior high. So I enrolled him into Connections Academy. So my kid has been going to virtual school for the last 5 years. It's like regular school. And even before the pandemic happened, we did trips, we met up with teachers. After the pandemic, not so much, but it's still a full on school, which means you still get full on fuckery within school administration. Now, like when he went to a physical elementary school, I am a very hands on parent. My son is autistic. It was vital to me to show the school that I am engaged and I take my son's learning seriously. And having a team, which they give to special needs kids, is vital to that. Unfortunately for me, welcome to the chat, Zai. My son's current team is not working the way it needs to. Now, the majority of them have been working with him since junior high, and I trust them. This year, we've got a new person. And unfortunately for me, this new person not only isn't doing her job properly, but lied on kiddo yesterday, and I snapped. Now, this is off the tail end of getting a mental recharge from the break I took from social media. Having my son's school bring drama that I don't want made me damn near snap again. And what pisses me off, and I told the story, is how easy the lie she used could be proven. Because my son does not reach out to people. So I am just like at a point in my life where I'm at the age where I'm not going to deal with people bullshitting my kid and ruining his future. And I just went full bore and I'm going to make sure that she is no longer considered his advisory teacher. I can't trust somebody like that to have my kid's future in her hands. And I'm just telling you tonight, being fired up from that helps me see a lot of the garbage that has been going on for 2 weeks. So if you feel called out after tonight, not my problem. But speaking of teachers, because while having a teacher who's a liar is bad, what the fuck is this nonsense? Like, seriously, why is she doing this? I'm not going to play the whole thing because I watched it on Deaf Noodle's channel and it was piercing my brain how ridiculous this was. But the fact that there are teachers who think this is okay boggles my mind. The lack of empathy, the fact that she's probably going to be unapologetic, or if she's apologetic, she'll think she's done nothing wrong. And I got to scroll away from that. What bothers me the most about this is we've had several indigenous and native people say, we want you to stop mocking us. Stop belittling our culture. Stop misappropriating our culture. Stop. It hurts us. Yet we have a certain demographic who has absolutely no problem stepping over that boundary and doing whatever they think they can get away with. And this is a teacher in high school. And I know some people think, well, by high school, kids have their own personas. High school is where uh, just a coalition of young people who are still developing their self esteem, their self worth, and how they're going to carry themselves as adults go. And to have your teacher disrespect your culture so openly and so ridiculously. And somebody tried to justify it saying, oh, she was discussing a math thing. Why does she need to do all that to discuss math? She wasn't making that class fun. I sat and I watched that entire video. Not only weren't the kids engaged, they looked embarrassed and pained to be there. I don't know, Ziana. They said it was some kind of formulatic theory. For me, it doesn't justify the blatant racism. And unlike Deaf Noodles, who wanted to be kind of diplomatic in this, which I can understand, that's his channel, his brand. I'm point blank saying, if you are not native, and even if you are, you wouldn't be putting on a production like that, because if you had true native ties, you would know how disrespectful that is. It is always people with no connection to a culture that can so openly mock and treat it like it's a joke. And it's not okay. And for anybody, because there were a lot of you in the comment section of that video talking about, well, I hope nobody quickly rushes to judgment. I hope nobody forms a mob for her job. She doesn't deserve to be teaching children. If she lacks the empathy to understand that using somebody's culture like that as isn't okay, she does not deserve to be a teacher. And for those of you who are saying, well, I understand, she's been doing that since 2012, yous are part of the problem. Stop giving leeway to this foolishness. There's absolutely no reason. If she had came into the classroom painted in blackface or yellowface or any other ethnic group and did a show like that, would you still be on board with it? If you said, yes, I don't want to know you, man. I'm sick and tired of people thinking that it's harmless because it's happening to natives. What she did was unacceptable. Exactly. I don't even understand that these people who do stuff like that think that it's okay. And then when you call them out on it, you're the bad guy. I'm okay with being the bad guy. I'm not going to be diplomatic about this. It's straight up racism to jump around your classroom hooping and hollering, not realizing that tribal dancing is spiritual, and those yells that she was trying to copy and mock are actual calls. And it's offensive on so many levels to see a basic ass shops at probably fucking Target white woman for those ugly ass Joker looking pants, hooping and hollering in a way that she could never understand because she's not connected to that. And if she was, she wouldn't be disrespecting it like that. And that's the point that people don't want to make. But I'm here to make it because I'm not here to make friends tonight, y'all. I'm here to call out what I seen, and what I seen is a lot of fuckery. And part of that fuckery last week, especially, was hey, Benny, welcome to the chat. I am just so trying to keep calm about this, but I want to reiterate again how frustrating it is to be on friendly terms with people in the media, have them follow me, have me normally respect them, and watch them abuse their influence to spread misinformation. Lately, it has been the Dems are definitely going to lose the midterms types. It's going to be those who want to say, I told you so, as they continue to spread apathy. Thank you for the follow, Nako Vin Gaming. It is very frustrating to me right now to see people who should know better, who have the platform to actually foster people to think about their local election, do what they can to make sure that the grounds we've gained in the last few months continue on. Instead, talk about, well, the Dems aren't doing stuff fast enough. 9 months is long enough to solve all the world's problems, and ignore the fact that we've had a pandemic. Ignore the fact that we've had several crises to handle, including a fucking treason attack in January, which some of you fuckers seem to think, oh, nothing's happening to those people. People have been arrested. People are still being indicted and arraigned. And justice does not move swiftly because I hate to say it, but some of you think real life is a Law and Order episode, and that's not how this works. Anybody who has had to deal with the justice system at any level, whether it's criminal, civil, understands that it is not a swift, quick action. And there were a lot of idiots who stormed our Capitol in January. There are a lot of people who are shitting their boots. There are a lot of people who think they're untouchable who are going to fuck around and find out. So what I need right now, especially from using the peanut gallery that spend all your time on social media talking about nothing's happening fast enough. Stop treating this like it's a TV show. You're not going to see Trump perp walked. I don't even know where you get that idea from. There has never been a political indictment where you've seen a political figure perp walked. I know you have these fantasies in your mind on how this nonsense is going to play out. But I'm letting you know right now, the reality of the situation is if they get that man baby, it's going to be a long ass deposition. He's not going to answer any of the questions. They may or may not record it or let it go live. But it is not going to be the interesting sideshow some of you think it's going to be. So you need to get it in your head and grow up. And some of you are using that, oh, Trump hasn't been arrested yet, or oh, these people aren't getting indicted fast enough, as reason to fuel apathy. And it's like I told my friend Tiff tonight. I don't trust anybody currently who's old enough to vote who doesn't have a 4-year plan. What is your plan for the next 4 years? Who are your local and state representatives? And what are you doing if your local and state representatives are not effective to get someone else elected? You need to have a 4-year plan. Because some of you didn't pay attention in civics class and seem to think that the president can do whatever they want. That is not how our government works. It's never how the government works. We have a system of checks and balances. So if you want certain things passed by this administration, you need to make sure we have enough in the House and enough in the Senate that can pass these laws. That's how legislation works, kiddies. And some of you have shown me over and over in the last 2 weeks that you don't deserve to be sitting at the regular table of politics. Y'all are way comfortable sitting at the kiddie table of politics, arguing with people who don't organize and don't vote, arguing with people who want to say, well, 9 months is long enough. Ignore the fact that there was a global pandemic. Ignore the fact that we had to pull out of a war. Ignore the fact that these people are actually getting work done to re-stimulate our economy, to repair all the debt that this last administration caused, to protect our fledgling democracy, even though at state level, they are literally trying to pass laws to roll back civil rights for women, for the LGBT. And don't tell me you don't know that they're coming after everybody else they think is undesirable. So if you don't want to see that happen, you need to have a 4-year plan. Next year for the midterms, I want all of us who work our asses off to make sure people vote to look smug at all of these journalists. I want to call them out by name, but I'm trying to hold my tongue right now. But you know who you are. I'm going to make sure you feel targeted because you have been really loud on Twitter lately, brah man. And it's always dudes. Always dudes. You get a blue verified check mark and you think you're the arbiter of who deserves to be uplifted. Y'all swore fealty to a woman who lied about her Native American heritage. And y'all got real salty when the rest of us said we don't want to deal with that. And you haven't been able to let it go. So now you take your platform, which is influential, big enough to influence people, big enough to get people thinking and organizing, and instead use apathy. You work for papers like Wonka. You work for papers like the New York Times. MSNBC loves booking you because you sell that bullshit that we can't get anywhere. That is just a waste. The midterms aren't going to matter because the Dems going to lose seats. The Dems can only lose seats if yous become complacent. And yous need to stop being fucking complacent. Some of yous think it don't matter, but we have seen what incompetence gives us. How many more deaths from this shit do we need? Even before COVID, there were problems with allowing incompetence to be our leader. From global relations being soured to just domestically, it was chaos. And we didn't have any kind of empathetic leadership. We didn't have any kind of competent leadership for 4 years. And I refuse to let the Republicans have another chance at fucking things up. So if you don't have a 4-year plan, and I see you following me, peddling doom and gloom, if you don't have a 4-year plan and live in a state that has representatives that actually get the work done, I'm dropping you. Because it's like I tell people all the time, I don't give a fuck about any of those numbers. And I don't want to be dealing with people who don't operate on reality. If you can't follow basic civics, if you're thinking that 6 to 9 months is enough to make things magically happen in a country that can't even get together whether or not to keep your ass safe from a fucking preventable disease, in a country that would rather argue about teaching critical race theory, which is still not even a curriculum anywhere, but don't want to talk about the actual history and the greatest sin this country still don't want to fucking rectify. Y'all don't need to be following me, and I don't want to be following you. I need to make this clear because people don't understand it until I cut them off. And maybe you're a masochist and you just like getting yelled at by somebody who has utter disdain for you. But I am sick of dealing with people who don't want to deal on reality, who want to just post shit for likes and views. Oh, I'm BLM. I'm Black Lives Matter. But ignore the racist shit that I say. I'm for women. I'm pro women. But I'm sliding in the DMs to try to talk to you. Don't let anybody know. DMs are forever. And if you don't think I'm petty enough to reveal some of y'all's slick side, you picked the wrong person. I'm going to warn you right now. I have no ties to the majority of you, and I want that to scare you because social media has been fucking exhausting lately. between grown-ass people who can't handle their own personal beefs without turning it into, if you don't unfollow this person, I'm unfollowing you. Bye, bitch. I am not going to let somebody dictate who I follow on Twitter. I stopped doing that years ago because I realized that cliquish bullshit will come back and bite you in the ass. And guarantee you that the person doing that is just a tweet away from everybody turning on them. So if you can't have beef with a certain fellow tweeter or content creator without sicking your hordes on them, I don't want to deal with you. I should not have to get on my Twitter and have people sliding into my DMs telling me who to follow. I am a 44-year-old woman. You are not my mother, and I don't really get along with my mother, so I don't need you parenting who I follow on Twitter. I can't believe I even have to say that in the year 2021. But some of you have been completely out of pocket with that shit. If I don't like something somebody has to say, I handle it. If I need to mute them for a bit, I do. If I need to ignore them for a bit, I do it. If I need to block them, it's between them and me. Unless they are so egregious or something that I have to make it public. And the last time I did that, I was filled with regret because I knew what I was doing. But I really wanted the woman I did that to understand that I refuse to be somebody's black woman shield. But still, I should have handled it person to person on the side. That is my one regret in the last time I did something like that. And I made a pledge after that not to make blocking public. There's no reason for it. It's not an airport. I ain't got to announce my departures and arrivals. But some of you like playing those games. And if you're in my DMs and it is not somebody who is blatantly being racist, if it's not somebody who is blatantly doing something that you know goes against everything that I stand for, I'm going to ignore you from now on. Because my DMs was a mess. I made it clear that I needed a mental break. I didn't lie about it because I don't need to lie about when I need time away. That meant no Twitter for me. And I know some people fake that funk. They say, oh, I'm going on a Twitter break. I'm going on a mad. And then they're constantly on. And they have duplicate accounts. I'm telling you right now, I don't want an alternate account. I don't have the energy for an alternate account. I don't like remembering passwords. When I am offline, I am offline. I am not. Axon can attest. Did you see me on social media for the last 2 weeks?
I barely saw you on the computer.
Exactly. When I need that recharge, I'm not trying to play around with this. And I know back in the day, especially when I was younger, that saying I was on the break and lurking was a thing. It wasn't worth it. Because, like I said, y'all have made, especially Twitter, so fucking toxic. I don't even like Facebook. I don't have an Instagram or any of those other things. I don't like that shit. And I don't need attention that badly. I get enough attention from doing these casts and the occasional tweet of my random life. Because some of you treat this shit like it's all you got, and that yous are like kings and queens of the internet. And I'm telling you right now, as somebody who actually knows history, monarchy reigns weren't long for a reason. And your queen or king status will only last until you stick your foot in your mouth. So unless you're completely okay with people hating you 1 minute, you need to watch your back on how you treat people. Because some of you are still acting like your followers aren't humans, that they're just minions that you can boss around and tell what to do. And that's not okay. And I'm telling you right now, for your sake, if you're following me, your best bet is to assume that I already know. I don't need your heads up. I don't need my DMs full of messages. I stopped looking. I know there are people who messaged me after I tried to catch up the other day. I'm done. It's exhausting. For those of you who left words of kindness, I thank you. This wasn't directed to you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the meditative stuff, all the sleep stuff. I know you were worried, and I do appreciate it. But there were far too many of you tattling to me, hepping me up to stuff that I just don't care about. I don't need that kind of stress in my life. And I don't see why you live for that. Does it give you a sense of power to try to turn people against each other? Does it give you a sense of power to say, oh, I made this big account? And I use big account loosely because I don't even feel like I'm a big account. But this person who happens to have this many followers unfollow somebody. Y'all be playing some stupid ass games. And like I said, I am 44 years old. I am not a child. And high school has been a long time past for me. So if that is how you get your fun on social media, bye. Miss me. Like I said, I shouldn't even have to devote so much time to this, but it got that bad. And along with influence abusers, y'all have made the internet so ridiculous to be on. He got people with large accounts being anti-vax in the fucking global pandemic. Talking about, we just don't have enough information. You know what information we do have? The fact that the alternative is killing people at a high rate. The fact that our hospitals are overwhelmed with sick and dying. The fact that this is fucking preventable by several factors: getting vaccinated, social distancing, wearing a mask. But we have people who have influence, people who believe in them, whether they're famous or not, who instead of using their voice to spread information and awareness, oh, you shouldn't believe in that. Why do something to keep your life safe? Why do something to keep your area safe? This is a problem, y'all. And it goes from what's going on with COVID all the way to politics. We have way too many people who people trust because they're famous or want to be famous, who are using their platform to keep us in chaos. And there is no such thing as controlled chaos. And I'm sorry, I have no emotional empathy left for the constant stories of people who were anti vax and died. I barely have it in me anymore to offer condolences because every day I am seeing death notifications. Every day on Twitter. There is over 21,000 people following me now for some reason. And every day I'm either seeing a retweet of somebody or somebody I know burying a loved one to something that was preventable. I've lost several family members to something that was preventable. So if at this point, where it's been almost a fucking year of us having a tested and utilized vaccine, that you still don't want to do your bare minimum to survive, peace out. You are leaving hundreds of thousands of children orphaned because of your belief. Belief in what? To be stupid and on a ventilator, taking your last breath, causing the mental stress of a hospital worker? What is going on? We have devices at our fingertips that should be spreading all kinds of verifiable information. Humans should be smarter on a level that is scary, and we're not. In fact, with this technology, all we've done is spread rampant ignorance. It doesn't make sense. You have technology at your fingertips that can reach countries around the world. See that we are all one people, even though we come from different cultures that we should be able to embrace. We are still one people. And we should be able to work together to not only take care of each other, not only grow and figure out this world and figure out what's beyond, but instead we use this to supposedly get famous, chase clout, and act like idiots. I can't make this make sense, but I'm telling you tonight, if you have even the smallest amount of influence and you're not using your voice to spread verifiable information, to spread factual information, to keep people safe and thinking, you are a waste of space to me. And I'm not going to be nice about this anymore because far too many of you have been the sky is falling these last few weeks. Far too many of you are things aren't getting done fast enough. Far too many of you are arguing with trolls still. Can you really answer me why anybody is still fighting with anybody who is still pro Bernie Sanders at this fucking point? They have shown that they will grift. They have shown that they are still pushing that a socialist utopia will happen once we topple the Biden administration. But what they ain't showing is out to turn in actual votes. Y'all want to sit at the kiddie table of politics arguing with those kids? Go ahead. I'm going to keep it moving. I need to focus on people who are getting elections won. I need to work with the people who are actually organizing, writing, calling, phone banking, who understand that we need to continue this front so that we can get actual progress, so that we can get the people who are in states like Texas and Florida and Arkansas and Alabama and so many of these states where they are literally trying to roll back rights for people out in the hands of these crowds. And if that is not what you're using your influence for, I don't want to be bothered with you. I have never had that fixation on celebrities. I don't know. Maybe it's just my personality. There's no celebrities that I go gaga over because I just don't care. They're still people. I might like a certain work. I might like a certain song. I don't need to meet the people who make them, and I definitely don't need to meet the people who sing it. I don't get starstruck because they are just people to me. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe it's part of my mental stuff. I don't know. But some of y'all get up in your feels for these people and they take advantage. Look at little Miss Nicki Minaj. She literally uses her fan base as a troll attack squad on people. And these people are willing to this because they think somehow it gives them power. It don't give you power. And the moment she's done with you, she will block you. She doesn't care. And if you realize that and you're still willing to be used, more power to you. I can't tell people who like that kind of shit how to get you jollies. I just cannot wrap my mind around it. Some of you are willing to be foot soldiers for fuckery, and it's embarrassing. So when you follow somebody of influence who is telling you something that will negatively impact your life and you're just willingly eating that bullshit up, I don't feel sorry for you. Especially in regards to getting actual progress. You talk about you want free college, student loan debt reform, all this stuff that a working legislative branch could help pass, yet you won't do your bare fucking minimum to make it happen. And for many people, you live in states where your bare minimum is a mail in ballot and you still won't do that much. So miss me with what this administration isn't doing in 9 months because some of yous are already trying to just justify why you're not going to turn out. And for the rest of us who see this and who want to turn out, we can't let them depress us. We will organize around them. We have to. That has to be our new goal. We have to set aside those people who put their ideologies ahead of things, who think they're going to be fine anyway, the fakers who put BLM and resist in their bio, but know they ain't gonna do anything, who's gonna sit in a few weeks across from their MAGA relatives and act like everything's fine. We have to put on that happy family thing. We missed Thanksgiving last year, so we're gonna sit with the racists this year because we're just a happy family for tonight. I'm done. If that's you and you're offended, oh well. I am tired of trying to be nice to people who are engaging in the system that is broken that we can fix with just a little bit of effort. If you don't want to run, nobody's making you run for anything. But there are people who are running currently in several states that can get the job done, and you are ignoring them by staying home and bitching about, well, I'm going to teach them. I'm not going to vote in the midterms at all. And some of yous never voted in the first place, and yous are real quick to threaten your non existent votes. I'm not paying you anything but dust anymore. The only people I'm choosing to amplify are those who organize, those who want to make sure that the people around them know how important this is. Because when you don't, you get men like Abbott, who are literally rolling back rights for people to vote, who have literally rolled back reproductive rights. And whether or not a certain New York Times journalist agrees with me, it is a state level issue. And if we don't fix it at a state level, there's nothing the national government is going to be able to do that won't cause trouble down the line. Because unlike you, who fakes your way in the intellect, some of us actually listened in school and studied and took it seriously. Civics. And I'm not going to use the voice that I have, that I am lucky enough to have people who want to listen to spread misinformation. And if you're bothering to listen to me tonight, if you're bothering to watch this when I upload it to YouTube, you need to understand why I'm saying these things. Because some of you are so deeply into your feelings. You don't care for facts if it doesn't coincide with your feelings. And this comfortable bigotry that some of you have accepted is not okay anymore. This comfortable apathy because you think even if the Republicans take charge again, I'll be all right. That's not okay anymore because we have learned what apathy gets us. And I'm not going backwards without a fight. Some of you really thought you were going to be okay the last 4 years. How many loved ones did you bury? Because I know a lot of us that did. How many of our friends who should still be here are gone? None of this had to happen, but some of you wanted to fuck around and find out and elect a carnival clown to the highest position of power and gave him a Senate full of fucking minions who allowed him to literally bankrupt our country. We cannot ever let our guard down. So if you got out to vote, if you're one of those people who put out that I'm proud voting sticker for the national election, I really hope you keep that energy for your state and local because this is not a drill. While I love to pretend like I'm not worried about the cuckoo birds and yahoos that are trying to challenge my current governor, we have a lot of far right fuckers who really think that they can convince enough people that Whitmer isn't doing her job, despite our state going down drastically in the number of people being reinfected, including having a successful vaccine rollout. Despite the fact that even being threatened and having a kidnapping plot, she still shut the state down because our safety was key. And we need to make sure that we do not get complacent that enough of us will just turn out and vote for her when she runs again. We need to show these far left fuckers and these far right fuckers that we no longer will allow them to just take power. We need to challenge them and we need to vote those motherfuckers out. It is the only way. If you want actual progress, you've got to stop playing games. If you are old enough to cast a ballot and you're not, why are you wasting your time? You have no right to complain if you are not casting a ballot. I don't want to hear from you if you don't vote at all. I don't care about your discontent because if you're not taking the time to do your basic civic duties, what's the point of hearing your voice? You don't want to have a voice. You made the decision by not doing anything. So I'm making the decision that your voice is not valuable enough for me to even talk to. That is the way it works. You don't like it, do something about it. Too many of you like to play games because, like I said, online you can create such a front. You can pretend like you're the biggest thing since sliced bread. You can act like you're down for whatever cause. But I'm telling you, give a person enough time, they show you exactly who they are, what their mentality is. And if somebody acts like they are politically aware in one breath and then spreads rumors about how the Dems aren't doing enough, you need to be wary and suspect. I'm not saying people aren't allowed their opinion. I'm just saying your opinion is suspect. You can't say that you're down for progress and don't vote. You can't say that you're a diehard Dem, blue wave resist, and then fucking 9 minutes, nine minutes is perfect. 9 months into the administration talking about stuff isn't being done big enough, the sky is falling. What is wrong with you people? Seriously. I legit do not understand the amount of mental disconnect to think that everything that's going wrong can magically be solved in less time than it takes to carry a baby. Y'all need to get it together. And I feel like I'm in full mama mode, but that's been me the last 2 days anyway. Having to yell at administrators or something and having to tell you basic ass decency seems to be what I have to do tonight. The Office of Citizenry? Exactly, Terry, and welcome to the chat. It is our basic right. And if somebody was to come today, outside those who have already drank in the fascist Kool-Aid, and said, we're just stripping all the rights to vote. You people aren't smart enough and we don't care. You would be in the streets rioting. Because how dare they take away my rights to cast a ballot? So if it was completely declared that we weren't allowed to vote, you would fight, right? Why should we let it get to that point? We literally have states trying to put in sneaky voter suppression laws that need to be stopped. Why do people wait until something that's preventable happens to take action? Do you think it's cute to have to protest something that shouldn't have to be in the first place? That's why I side-eyed that ridiculous women's march. That's why I side-eyed that protest at the Met Gala. You want change? It's not going to come from a stunt. You want actual progress? It's not going to come from people who want to say, look at me. Because when they're louder than the message, they're not about that message. And there are far too many of you standing those louder than the message. I blocked AOC long ago. I knew her number long ago. I'm from New York. I know fake bitch when I see a fake bitch. I see more of her stuff because y'all get around it by retweeting certain news things of her interviews, screen capping her stuff. Same with Bree and some of these other clowns. I see more AOC from the people who claim to be against her than any of her fans. Stop amplifying her fuckery. You know how she became an influencer? All of you who share her shit. Stop giving her that amplification. I legit do not understand why you do that. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the follow, Death Striker. It's mind-boggling to me how many of you allow yourselves to amplify people who you claim you're not about them. I get it. You can rise to popularity taking her down with a tweet. You can rise to popularity calling them out. There are ways to call out somebody's fuckery without giving that person amplification. And if you're not old enough or social media savvy enough to learn how to do that, follow the people that do. But way too many of you are amplifying her BS, claiming that you're just calling her out and you're just spreading her stuff. And I really shouldn't have to tell you at this point. Some of you are definitely not new to social media. You are old enough to know better. But you think it's cute because you get a few hearts, you get a few retweets, and it goes to your head. But it's exhausting when we could be focusing. It's like I said earlier about influence. If you are wasting your time and influence attacking AOC on a front that doesn't matter, social media is her turf. She is already a clean clout goblin. So you trying to get on her level is a waste. The best way to fight somebody like her is to make sure she gets fully primaried and vote her ass out. Stop letting her be a waste of a seat. We're working on that here because we've had our squad member problems here. That is what you should be doing. There's a reason why I'm not arguing with Rashida Tlaib constantly. A, I knew it would give me a headache trying to reason with an anti Semitic bigot. But B, my best way to get revenge on the fact that she's wasting a rep district seat is to make sure that whoever's running against her beats her. So I legit do not understand these people are like, well, you should beef with her on Twitter. What's the point of that? This ain't high school. I'm not going to beef with somebody who really wouldn't care what I had to say to them anyway. My best revenge against anybody I feel is a waste of a political spot is to make sure they stop being a waste of that political spot. It really is that simple. Some of you waste so much time and energy trying to be the trolls you claim not to be. And then you just play victim when you're called out. But if you have spent most of your day today arguing with somebody because they said something different than what you like, if you spent most of your day today hem-hawing over a decision that hasn't been made, spreading misinformation about how if we don't convict the people who did the January 6th invasion of doing something, we've lost the Civil War. Show me where there was an official declaration that none of these people were going to jail, because the last I checked, several people have been arrested, several have been indicted, there are several sitting in jail, and more being arrested every day. I don't understand where this whole narrative has come from that nothing's being done, but it's seriously sickening that you want an open book presidency when the time we had it, nothing was being done. I like a quiet, competent presidency that is getting stuff done, that understands that we've got fires to put out. So it can't be, oh, let me do this stunt so people like me. Joe Biden don't care if you like him. He's not here to be your best friend. He is here to be the president of the United freaking States. And it is not an easy job because he's president of the most ungrateful, self-entitled, stupid nation ever. And I don't say this lightly, but we have no reason, no logical reason to be this level of stupid anymore. But we full on embrace it because fuck your feelings. If your facts get in the way of it, I'm going to fight you. And I got easy access to murder weapons to do it. It's chaos. And like I keep saying, there is no such thing as controlled chaos. So when we've got somebody competent who is doing their best to chisel away at the damage done by the attempt at controlled chaos, and I see people constantly spreading discontent because somehow they think they can keep this ridiculous system of apathy going because it sells their papers. It gets them clicks and views. Or they're just a fucking, what is the name that I want to use? Just grumbly for no good reason and think they're the smartest person in the room and that they can use their influence to just depress the vote to keep that cycle going so that they can say, I told you so. So that they can continue to post articles talking about, see, we told you the damn. You've got to stop feeding into it. I'm telling you, since I stopped allowing my house to broadcast the news on a 24/7 cycle, I don't even turn on the major networks anymore. Don't even need the daily networks because we have technology where you can see articles and wonder if it's worth reading or watching. There are better ways to get your news information outside the corporate run, manufactured bullshit that only pushes fuckery. I'm just tired of seeing people say, well, I don't really watch MSNBC that much, and then go around arguing about what Joy said. We all know Joy is in it for her paycheck. It's why she's one of the loudest and one of the few females I have seen pushing the whole narrative that stuff just isn't getting done fast enough. Because she knows she wants to keep them bills. She needs to keep them ends coming in, and she don't care who gets hurt in the process because she's at the point financially where she'll be all right. The rest of us won't. So instead of giving joy, attitude, watching the show and hem hawing and grumbling, show her by not giving her them ratings. It really is that simple. I don't want to see Sister Girl lose her job, but if she's gonna play these games, why should I watch it? I don't watch anybody on the major news networks anymore because of that. They just seem content in spreading the misinformation that will harm us in the long run. And I don't trust anybody who isn't keeping people focused on what we've lost, what we could potentially lose if we continue this cycle of apathy, this cycle of, well, I only have to worry about who's president. I don't have to remember basic civics where I need an actual functioning House of Representatives and a functioning Senate. And who cares if the Supreme Court is already stacked against us? What bad could that do? Stairs in Texas legislation. That's the bad that happens when you get lazy. When you think, oh, well, I'm white, I'll be all right anyway. Y'all are dying really big time. I remember a few years back when I really started to get involved in political Twitter. One of the things the MAGAs and far left peppy type avatar guys would say is, you're pushing white genocide. No, I have absolutely no desire to see white people die on a big level. I think that's gross. I don't even understand how calling for equality could be even remotely akin to that. But it's funny that the people who accuse me of committing white genocide are literally killing themselves off with their own stupidity. Yous are committing white genocide. You are legitimately taking yourselves out of the equation for no reason besides your feelings. I mean, if I was a black nationalist, as I was called a few times, you are literally doing the job that you're accusing me of for me. How's that feel? You feel smart? You feel like a master now? Like, I don't even know how else to talk to you at this point. It is so freaking stupid. Exactly, Terry. It just boggles my mind though that these people literally were telling me that I was promoting white genocide by saying we need to work together. We need to be equal. We need to study actual history. We need to stop treating people as if they're less than based on their gender identity, and ridiculous socially structured fuckery. I don't think it's trying to eliminate anybody by saying everybody should have an equal right to exist on this planet. But when you have spent your entire existence being the golden child, when you have spent your entire existence being able to look down on somebody no matter what your station in life because your lack of pigment somehow makes you automatically better, of course you don't want to let that go. And we have played into that power for so long that even the most benign of y'all refuse to give it up. You realize that if you don't feel special, what do you have? And I can tell you what you would have if you would let go of that false feeling of specialness. You would have a world that is advanced, not only culturally, socially, but maybe we could start getting education that actually makes sense. Less of that idiot who hoops and hollers, mocking native traditions, and more of teachers who actually want to reach a kid who might not have unlocked learning in the way another kid has. I've said it before and I will never stop saying it. Our current system of education is destined to have so many failures. It is why so many of us have developed so many different anxieties. Because from the gate, you are put against your peers. You aren't taught to grow together. You are taught to be rivals. And some people are like, well, that fosters. No, it doesn't. Because you realize, especially as an adult, that there are many factors stacked against you. If you have more money, you're getting better education. If you have better teachers who care, you're getting a better education. But there are a lot of people who don't understand that not everybody learns at the same pace and level. And not everybody's interested in certain things. And if you want to make people interested in learning, you have to figure out how to get them to embrace what they like. If you see a kid that isn't really good academically, but can draw or can sing or has a sport, yeah, you might want to nurture it, but you can build a whole entire lesson around that incorporates something they love so they can make that mental connection. But the amount of people who have those ideas, they don't make it far in school. And especially in this new test taking, no child left behind bullshit factory we call the school system. It is a mess. And the only way we are going to change this mess is to make sure we're doing our part. Volunteer at your kid's school. Not just going to school board meetings yelling about my mass, my rights, because we know those people are unreachable. But if you care about how education is churning out for our students, what our students are actually learning, and if they are even invested in what they're getting in the classroom, you need to do your part. I like to think that even if my son didn't have special needs, I would be his biggest advocate in school. I want parents to understand that when you don't take interest in your kids' schooling, when you don't take interest in what they're learning, who their teachers are, what their teachers are doing, that imprints onto your kid too. And we have to stop raising generations of kids who think apathy is the okay default. But they get it from us. Kiddo is ready to vote. Why? Because he sees how seriously his mom takes it. He understands the detailed notes that I give him every morning before school is because I care. He knows that he can come to me when a teacher lies on him. He can come to me when anybody makes him feel uncomfortable because I want to have that relationship with my child. Some of you don't do that, and then you wonder how your kid gets to where they are. And during the last 2 years, with the stress of a pandemic, with the stress of not being able to do the things that most teens do, they need you more than ever. Your younger children need you more than ever. This is the time to be engaged, involved, and be fucking parents. Because why the heck did you bring these kids here anyway if you're not going to invest yourself into them? I'm telling you right now, I'm fired up about this because far too many people play these games. Y'all want pats on the head and praise when your kid does something good in school. You just want a gold star for stuff that you didn't do yourself, but you are not emotionally engaged and invested in anything that's going on in your kid's life. They don't feel like they can talk to you about anything, and that is not okay. Because kids who keep stuff in tend to get into the most trouble. Kids who have that relationship with their parents, where they understand that they're their parents, because I see some people that get that shit twisted. I'm not saying be best friends with your kids. That's weird. Unless you're adults and that's your thing, I'm not going to judge that. I don't understand it, but some of you do that. Fine. But when your child's a minor and relying on you, you need to be their parent. But you also need to show them that you care about what's going on in their lives. You realize how many kids who have been bullied, who have been harmed by the way their teachers and classmates treat them, often can't go to their parents because they either feel like the parents aren't going to listen to them or take their side, or they point blank know that you don't give a crap. You are their example on how to handle things in life. So that when they have kids, they're going to do everything you did to them to that generation. We have to stop this bullshit. I know some of us was raised by both for Gen Xers, boomers, hippies. Some of us even had silent generation influence because we were raised by grandparents. So we come from this weird mesh of ideologies. And it gives us this unique perspective on what works and what doesn't work. And I know people think, oh, you just don't care anyway. You're the med generation. The problem is we care. We just know what to invest our energy in and what not to. And all my energy goes into making sure my kid doesn't end up going full bore on abusive, self destructive behavior. He knows his value. He knows he's going to have a place in this society. And I want other kids his age and beyond to do that as well. But it's on you guys. If you're a parent tonight, I don't care if your baby is newborn or about to turn 18, take the time to talk to them. You might get annoyed. Sometimes they talk to you about stuff that you don't care about, but when they know they can talk to you, it really opens up their world. I'm about to wrap things up, y'all. I can't believe a whole hour has passed. I really want to thank you all who joined the chat. Thank you all for the new follows. I will be back tomorrow. And thank you for the subscription with an all new Gen X Cynics. We're going to be talking geek stuff and pop culture. Unfortunately, we lost a really big part of our childhood, Axiom and I, Peter Scolari. I don't know if you remember Bosom Buddies or Newhart or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's been in a lot of stuff. And yeah, the TV show. But it really is sad that we lost such a great actor, and we'll probably do something tomorrow to honor his memory and just talk about all the fun geeky things he did in his career. But I want to thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week with an all new Bonnet Chronicles. And once again, thank you everybody who showed support while I took my break, and I will see you all soon. Are you playing that song?
Maybe.
Yeah, you are.
Ooh,